We took this e-commerce client from 9,000 per day to over 22,000 per day with a 37% profit margin in e-commerce in 90 days. So in August 2025, when they came to us, they were averaging 9,000 per day, and we doubled their revenue in 90 days to over 673,000 per month in October. Right? So this brand doubled their revenue in 90 days, which is super crazy, but also shows you what's possible if you follow the right system down to a T, which is what I'm going to show you in this video. Right? So I'm going to break down the complete SOP. Now, my team is really going to hate me for this, but I'm just going to leak the complete standard operating procedure for you, the whole step-by-step breakdown for this successful scale, so you can hopefully replicate this into your business. So this is going to include everything from offer ideation to new creatives, media buying, the complete funnel and upsell mechanism, to all the way to retention and customer lifetime value maximization. So after this video, you're going to realize there's only two ways to really make money in e-commerce in 2026, which is either you cancel your low performer agency and have us replicate this success with your existing in-house team, or number two, if you don't have an agency yet, then directly start working with us and we're going to install this system directly into your business so you can implement it yourself. Now, super quick background about me before we dive into this video. My name is Weische, founder of Accelerated and Conversion.io, which is essentially a group of companies with a team of 42 people based in Germany. We help 7-figure brands scale to 8 figures, and we help 8-figure brands double their profitability. In the last 6 years, we've worked with over 254 brands such as iMade Health by David Beckham, Goalie, Vessi, Huel, AG1, or Coconut Beauty, and many, many more you can find on our website. Now, let's get straight into this video. We onboarded them in August 1st at around $9,000 per day. Now, they had a basic Facebook setup and creators, a nicely designed website, but not really conversion focused, and no differentiation to other offers in the market. The competition was bullying them like crazy. Whenever they tried scaling past $10,000 per day, the ROAS went down and the economics didn't really enable them to scale more, and it made them completely unprofitable. So they essentially hit a glass ceiling. Now, before they work with us, as you can see, these were the KPIs. Now, within 90 days, we more than doubled the ad spend with a 19% higher revenue per user. Now, if you try to double your ad spend tomorrow, your revenue per user, meaning your conversion rate, AOV, ROAS, and all of that is going to go down like crazy. But with this brand, we were able, as you can see, to increase the revenue by over 191%. We increased their sessions by over 152%, so more than doubling their sessions because we obviously doubled their ad spend. And then we increased their conversion rate by 9%, their average order value by 10%. And also they could have done way more, but we have to keep the scale now at 20 to 25,000 per day because of their supply chain. So they're going to hit $1 million a month in Q2 2026. Now let's go into this together. Now the agenda for this video is at the beginning of this intense case study, we are first going to take a look at the fundamentals and the rough content of the roadmap, because every brand wants to make millions, right? But often all of these brands, they fail because of the absolute basics that have to be in place. And without the basics, this case study would not have happened. So you are going to get a really detailed insight into the collaboration and also the exact path to doubling revenue. So lean back and enjoy. Now, the phase number one is the groundwork, right? So for us, everything starts with a deep dive into the brand and then creating a specific tailored roadmap to the needs of the brand. So first of all, comprehensive analysis of the brand and the creation of a customized roadmap focused on the greatest levers. Now, the main bottleneck was the paid level, right? So the cold traffic couldn't really be collected profitable. Only new products were launched and sold to existing customers, right? So they had a low conversion rate, they had a too low average order value, they had a really low creative volume, and they didn't really have any functioning funnels, right? They were pushing all of their ad spend to their product page, so the brand really reached its limit. So in our roadmap, we first of all, in the first month, only focused on adding all of these missing fundamentals, which was the basic prerequisite for doubling the revenue in 90 days. And really every brand should implement all of these elements perfectly. So number one was market research, right? What we first of all found is that their customer avatar was way too generic. Now, what I mean with that is that most people nowadays, they are just super lazy, and whenever they do marketing, they hit really surface level pain points, right? So what we did is that we exported all of their historic reviews, meaning every single review that any customer ever wrote on their page. We talked to their customers and did custom interviews, and also we searched through forums like Reddit, Amazon, Quora to then create a hyper-specific customer avatar. Right? So we essentially, for the product that they sold, created two hero avatars. The one was male and the other one was female. And for both of these, we each then dove deep into their pain points, desires, objections, beliefs, and main motivations. Now, I also have a complete SOP here that you can follow, right? So this SOP is basically how to gather qualitative data from your customers, and we always follow this SOP, right? So here you can see also the exact questions we ask the customers in interviews, right? So, for example, right, we answer all of these questions. We then export all of the reviews, and then I have the complete SOP of how to really then break down the reviews to then gather the specific tonality and the voice that they use and the words that they use, so that we can then use it against them, right? So also how to really survey your customers. What are the questions you should ask your customers, and in the next step, what can you then do with the answers that they give you? So that's the complete SOP for doing the market research and then creating a super, super specific customer avatar. Now, in the next step, we have the offer creation and offer ideation, right? So, because the customer avatar was too generic, also the offer was too generic, right? Because if you don't have a really deep understanding of your target audience, and how you're going to make your offer really, really deeply resonating with your customers. Now, the main thing that we found with the offer is that it only solved a really small problem for the customer, right? And I talk about this a lot. Successful e-commerce brands need a really strong offer, which can be sold as an all-in-one solution with a unique mechanism, right? So based on the market research, we then created one code-friendly offer for the male hero avatar and one code-friendly offer for the female hero avatar. Now, here's another SOP that I have for that, right? Where I completely break down how to build code-friendly offers, right? Exactly what they are, how to build them, right? As you can see here, this is the complete SOP. The long story short is you want to build an all-in-one solution that you can sell for the fraction of the perceived value, right? And then I also have a lot of different examples of code-friendly offers in this document. So I really recommend you to check this out if you're struggling with this. Now, the next step is the funnel creation. So based on the market research and based on the hero avatar and the code-friendly offer combination, we then created 2 funnels each, right? So 2 funnels for the male avatar with the male code-friendly offer, and then 2 funnels for the female avatar with the female code-friendly offer. Now, the first funnel that we would like to follow is a pre-sale page funnel, right? Meaning we have ads that we push to a listicle, and from the listicle, we then push them to the product page, and from there to the checkout. Now, with listicle, what I mean is that we have a page which is built like this, right? So we essentially have a headline with the desired situation of the target avatar. And then again, you can only know the specific desired situation, make this resonate with them and make this whole funnel work if you've done the groundwork here, right? Because otherwise, if you just directly go into building a preset page, then your copy is not going to resonate and the whole funnel is going to fail, right? So we always start with a headline with that desired situation. After that, we then have a table comparison explaining why what we are about to reveal to them is way better than anything else they've seen before. We then give them 5 reasons why this is a really, really great solution for them. And then at the bottom of the page, we have a call to action to limited offer. And once they had the call to action, we then push them to the product page. Now, this is the funnel number 1. The funnel number 2 is the sales page funnel, right? Here we go from ad directly to a sales page and then to a checkout. So the sales page is essentially a combination of a pre-sale page and the product page, where in the above default, you first have a banner with a value proposition and trust. You then underneath that have an offer section with an offer breakdown. You then have testimonials, you have an about the brand section, and then an FAQ, right? So if you want to dive deeper into how to set up these pages, then I suggest you to check out this My Report, right? Because here I have a really, really great breakdown of how to build these preset page funnels, right? It's a complete breakdown of how we build them for our clients in terms of advertorials and then also the listicle that I've just talking about, right? So this is a really, really great SOP if you want to dive deeper into this. So after building these funnels, next thing we had to do was to improve the average order value, right? Because the front-end average order value is the main competitive edge to scale profitably. Now, the 2 main levers for that are the perceived value and the offer improvement, right? Which we talked about before in the code-friendly offer creation. Now, the main thing is that before of that, they had a bundle of 2 products that they sold for 69 instead of 199. And that was okay. And as you saw above, the conversion rate was also okay for that. But we decided to keep this bundle of 2 products, but then add 3 free gifts to the bundle so that we were able to sell it for $89 instead of $299. Right, so we bumped up the front end price point by $20 and also improved the increased value. Now, the other main thing was the conversion rate optimization, right? So the conversion rate had a lot of room for improvement before we started working together. Mainly, they were missing these 3 elements, right? Element number first was the trust elements, right? So we added a lot of authority figures like doctors, influencers, and all of that to the page. The second thing is we added a lot of strong testimonials that handle objections, and then we also added this about the brand story, right? It's always super, super important that you have a really believable section where you talk about who is behind the brand and why you really created this product. Now, the second thing was the copywriting, right? So based on the initial market research and the hero avatars, we then completely rewrote all of their copy to then have copy that's specifically targeted to the hero avatar and also cuts like a knife through butter and resonates with them deeply. The third big thing was the product images. So before that, they had a really only like 3 images, really generic of the product. So afterwards, we then had 10 hyper detailed with pain points, with before and afters, with proof, testimonials, and authorities. So I also have a guide here on really how you should build your product images, right? So really, what should the first image be? What do you need to have on the images, right? This is a really, really great breakdown of really how to build those product images, how to improve the value proposition, how to show social proof, and essentially everything you need in your product images, right? So I really, really recommend you to check out this guide. Now, the next thing was the ad creation. So before working with us, they didn't really have a creative engine or strong research process, and all of their messaging was super generic, right? So based on the market research, we identified the unique mechanism for the hero avatar's main desire, right? So as soon as you do your market research, you're going to understand what is the main motivation for your hero avatar to buy your product. And then specifically for this main motivation, you can then create a unique mechanism, right? Unique mechanism is always super, super important for marketing. After you have that, you then translate that into different angles, right? So in this case, for example, we had 4 different angles to sell the unique mechanism to the hero avatar. And then these 4 different angles, we translated into 5 static images and also 5 VSL ads to test, right? So essentially we had 40 creatives in creative batch number 1 to test. So these ads target everything from unaware to aware audiences and grab the attention. So they hit their pain point, they show the desired situation, they speak about new solution for their desired transformation, right? So this all essentially was the groundwork that we had to do in phase number 1. Now, phase number 2 was we wanted to go live and identify the winners. So for the ads testing and KPIs, as you know from above, we had 30 creatives in batch number 1. So we decided to test 10 per week. Now, each creative gets a single ad set with 3 times the average order value as a testing budget that we want to spend over 5 days, right? So in this case, at an average order value of around $80, we had a 240 testing budget per ad. So each ad gets launched at $50 daily so that we can spend it after 5 days and then also evaluate after 5 days. Now, what do you evaluate these testing ads on? So you want to have a target KPI that you calculate based on your target customer acquisition cost or based on your target customer acquisition ROAS, right? And then you want to put a 20% buffer based on that. So let's say your target ROAS is 1, just to make it super simple. Then your target KPI, e.g. target ROAS is 1x, then it should hit 1.2x or more in testing phase, right? And then you just want to kill all of the ad sets that fall under through this. Now, then you want to identify the winner ads and break down learnings, right? So the winner ads are all of the ad sets that hit this target KPI with the initial ad spend in a single ad set. So you want to understand what was the specific desire that you spoke about in this ad? What was the awareness level? What was the angle you used? And what is the learning that you can derive from that? Now, the tracking mechanism for this mostly is we want to have a spreadsheet where we just have the daily ad spend, all of the KPIs in terms of CPC, in terms of the clicks, conversion rate, AOV, CAC, ROAS, and all of that stuff. And then you want to track daily performance and iterations. And then you want to use a tool like HiROAS for real-time attribution and making decisions in the ads manager, right? So this is essentially the go live phase. Now, phase number 3 is then scaling winners and fine-tuning. So for the ads, again, in phase number 1, we identified the winners, right? So you want to take all of the winners. So let's say we went live with 10 creatives, maybe you have 3 winners, right? So you want to take all of those 3 winner creatives and duplicate them into a CBO where you have all of those 3 winners, and then you put this at $500 daily, for example, right? Because all of these sustained your ad spend. Now, step number 2 is then based out of the CBO after a couple of days, you want to then take the best performer creative into a new campaign where you then put a bid cap, right? So essentially, how much is Facebook allowed to spend at your target KPI? And then, for example, you put a bid cap at your target customer acquisition cost and put it at a super high budget, because this essentially says that you have a winner creative that performed really, really well. And then you tell Facebook, for example, hey, my target customer acquisition cost is $50, and with $50, I make a lot of profit. If you're able to hit $50, then you can spend as much as you want, right? Now, Facebook obviously isn't going to spend this from day one, or not spend it every single day, right? But that's just why you want to put a high budget. And then step number 3 is you want to then create 5 iterations per winner ad each, right? With a specific idea behind the iteration, and also track the iterations in a spreadsheet. And then essentially, you just want to go through this process every single week to put the first creatives that you had in the first batch, and then to also create iterations based on your winner ads that you identified from the scaling campaigns. And then you want to run through the above testing SOP, and then again, add winner to the winner CBO, and also create scaling CBOs for the winners. Now, for the funnels, you want to duplicate the winner funnels to match the angle and the copy of your ad, right? The funnel game is one with congruency and having a singular focus angle from first touch point until they buy. Now, for example, let's say you have angle A in the ad, then you want to push that through pre-sale page A, sales page A into the checkout. Now, let's say you have a different angle B in the ad, then you want to have a duplicated pre-sale page B where you exchange the content, and then also duplicated sales page where you exchange the content and then push them into checkout. Or, for example, if you go straight to sales page, then you should also have a specific sales page. Now, the main metric to focus on is the revenue per user, which is essentially the result of multiplying conversion rate and AOV. Right? So that's the main metric you want to obsess with. Now, let's say, for example, your revenue per user is $2, and then you have your CPC at $1, then your ROAS, for example, would be 2x, right? So your only goal is to improve your revenue per user, because you can only decrease your CPC by so much to improve your ROAS, right? So it's super, super difficult to get the CPC from $1 to 80 cents, for example, right? But it's so much easier to get your revenue per user from 2 to 250, which would also then increase your ROAS from 2 to 2.5x, right? So that's what you want to mainly focus on. Now, I also have another guide here that I haven't linked yet, but I'm going to link this now, which is the main A/B test that you run on funnels to really improve your conversion and average order value. Yes, so it's essentially this video with the 10 best performing CRO tests, right, that I have here, which also takes you through the whole testing process. And then I have a couple of different A/B tests that we like to run on page in terms of copywriting, in terms of value proposition, in terms of pricing, and all of that to really improve your revenue per user. Right. The next thing you want to do is post-purchase upsells, right? So we typically add 2 to 4 one-time offers after they've purchased to really maximize the AOV and increase it by another 10 to 30%. The type of upsells we include as one-time offer after the checkout is more of the same, faster results or results to another problem, right? So here I have another SOP where I really break down the different offers we use based on the front end, right? So here we have 3 different examples based on a low ticket front end, a mid-tier front end, and then also a high ticket front end in terms of the post-purchase upsells, right? So I really suggest you to watch this to increase your average order value. And then the last thing really is retention, right? So you want to have an email sequence that has nurturing and education around the product they bought on the front end. And this is similar to the post-purchase upsells, right? So for example, if on the front end you sell them on product A, right? So let's say on the front end you sell them to product A, and then on the back end you sell them on product B, right? Then you can essentially take a lot of the stuff that you have as post-purchase upsells and then also push this out as email campaigns, right? So from the angle, from the copywriting and all of that, this is super similar to the post-purchase upsell. So essentially you only do the work once and then you can use it on post-purchase upsells and also the emails and also the retargeting ads, right? And then you upsell them on more of the same, right? So multiple of the front-end products they bought to upsell them faster results, or for example, results to another problem they're facing. So let's say on the front end, they buy product A for pain point A, then you can cross-sell or upsell them later on product B for problem B. Then you also want to set up retargeting ads to people who bought the product on the front end with also special one-time offers similar to what we spoke about here. Now, This is essentially the high level process that we followed end to end, right? I just wanted to break this down to make it really applicable for you. And now the whole summary of this is, yes, it's possible to double your revenue in a super short time span, as you can see with this case study. But most people skip the basics and chase dumb shiny objects. So if you're not yet at 8 figures per year, then you don't have the above fundamentals dialed in, and you really should work with us to implement these fundamentals. E-commerce scale is the integration of all of these fundamentals, right? So you need to have great creatives, you need to have a great funnel, you need to have a great code-friendly offer and a great product, right? One really doesn't work without the other. And people always try to get shortcuts, but that doesn't really work. So if you integrate all of these steps with us, you will scale faster than ever and make a shit ton of money. And we consistently produce results like these, count the profits with our clients, and buy nice stuff together and enjoy life. So if you want to achieve similar results, then click on this link and apply to work with us here, right? So you can watch the explainer video of how we work together with people, and then you can just schedule a call with me and my team here and apply to work with us. And then we can implement this into your business too. And if you want to dive deeper into topics like these, then I have 2 different master theses where I really break down the complete A to Z process. So if you're currently doing between 1 to 10 million per year, then really suggest you to watch this 1-hour breakdown, right? Because this is a complete SOP that we follow with even more detail than I had in this video. And then if you're already at 8 figures per year and want to scale faster and more profitable, then I suggest you to watch this video, because this is tailored to 8-figure brands on how to really maximize their profits. Hope you enjoyed all of this, and then I will see you soon.